I knew something was off the moment my ducks stopped swimming. They just stood there, confused on what used to be a thriving pond behind my ranch. Now, nothing but a cracked, muddy crater and the faint smell of corporate arrogance. I looked over my shoulder at the golf course across the ridge, greener than ever. Too green. Suspiciously green. That place had been drying out for weeks, ever since the HOA president, Karen with a capital K, took over and decided her championship vision deserved liquid gold. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. I followed the pipe trail myself, cutting through brush and following a suspiciously new irrigation line snaking toward the golf course. It wasn't on my property records. It sure as hell wasn't in any agreement. And yet there it was, an illegal water siphon dug underground and connected straight to my private pond. Bold, illegal, insulting. I confronted Karen that evening. She was dressed in her usual HOA queen armor, pastel pantsuit, clipboard in hand, fake smile glued on like Botox. "Oh, that pond? I thought it was community water," she said, sipping some imported mineral concoction like she hadn't just confessed to theft with glitter on. "You thought wrong," I said, "and now you're gonna pay." Karen laughed. "You're welcome to file a complaint." "Oh, honey, I didn't file a complaint. I filed a permit, one that allowed for scheduled septic tank cleaning. Then I filed another for soil enrichment via fertilizer irrigation, all perfectly legal under county land management ordinances. And then, using an old friend in sanitation and a perfectly timed county inspection report, I got exact sprinkler control specs for the golf course's system. Their automated water rotation system had a flaw. It pulled from the same underground tanks, regardless of source input, as long as the pressure matched. So I got to work. Quietly, carefully, legally. While Karen was busy planning the HOA's open house weekend, a snooty garden party / real estate feeding frenzy, I was programming the nastiest irrigation schedule in HOA history. Tick, tock. The septic truck was scheduled for Saturday morning at 9 a.m. sharp. Sprinklers? 9:05 a.m. Saturday arrived like the finale of a Broadway show, with stage lights, fake smiles, and high heels stabbing holes in freshly laid sod. Karen stood at the podium in front of the golf clubhouse, mic'd up and drunk on power. Realtors flanked her sides, pointing out brochure-perfect homes to gullible couples sipping mimosas. The air smelled of overpriced mulch and desperation. Nobody noticed the sanitation truck idling just behind the fence, hose quietly snaked underground and pressurized. I was posted up on my ranch porch, coffee in hand, binoculars locked on the sprinkler heads. Karen gave a cheesy speech about luxury living in harmony with nature, just as the pressure valve clicked to green. 9:05 a.m. The sprinklers erupted in perfect sync, launching high arcs of what should have been crisp, clean water across the putting green. Instead, brown, thick, murky. A horrifying spray of septic stew misted across golf carts, cheese platters, and a very unfortunate poodle. Gasps turned into screams. Some people tried to run. Others stood frozen in disbelief, faces dripping with the HOA's dirty secrets. Karen got hit square in the chest, her pastel blazer turning a shade of defeat. She flailed, tripping over a decorative hedge and landing in the middle of the putting green like a downed dictator. I watched as realtors scrambled to escort clients out of the war zone, slipping in brown puddles of irony. One lady gagged so hard she dropped her little dog. A toddler started crying about the poop rain. And Karen? She was screaming at the sprinklers like they had betrayed her personally. Then came the media. See, I may have tipped off a local station about some shady water sourcing violations tied to the HOA golf course. When they arrived with cameras rolling, they caught Karen mid-meltdown, waving her soaked clipboard like it could deflect responsibility. The news crew loved it. They even interviewed the septic guy, who, bless his heart, said, "We just followed the permit. It's fertilizer. Ain't our fault it smells like karma." Karen shouted about lawsuits, but the damage was already global. Someone live streamed it, had Poop Course was trending by noon, and I was just getting started. By Monday, Karen's kingdom was rotting, literally. That golf course smelled like Satan's septic tank, and no HOA funds could erase the viral stain of what the internet dubbed the turf turd tsunami. Local businesses pulled sponsorships. Realtors dropped the entire neighborhood from their listings. One unfortunate drone video captured the moment a guest slipped, skidded face first through sludge, and lost a shoe in the chaos. The HOA's Facebook page went dark within 24 hours. No posts, no damage control, just silent defeat. But I wasn't about to let it end with some internet shaming. I paid a visit to county code enforcement with a thumb drive. On it, footage of the illegal pipeline, dated schematics of the water diversion, and a recorded conversation with a hired contractor who admitted the HOA president had instructed him to tap into the ranch water quietly. Boom. Evidence so airtight it made their lawyers sweat like hogs in church. The county officials were livid. Not only had the HOA illegally rerouted water, they'd done so across multiple property lines and endangered native wetlands in the process. Environmental protection got involved. Fines stacked like bricks, hundreds of thousands. Karen tried to weasel out by blaming a rogue landscaping vendor, but her signature was all over the permit requests. It was glorious. Then came the civil suit. I filed for damages, ecological, personal, and financial. My attorney was like a bloodhound in court, slapping down receipts, footage, soil tests, and expert witnesses like we were filming a Netflix documentary. Karen's defense? It was for community beautification. Judge didn't buy it. Meanwhile, other homeowners started revolting. Turns out Karen had bullied and fined them for years. Grass an inch too high, $200. Wrong paint shade on a mailbox, $500. Now they smelled blood. A group of them filed for HOA dissolution, citing gross mismanagement and embezzlement of dues. One neighbor even found Karen had billed the HOA for executive leadership retreats, which turned out to be spa weekends with her sister in Sedona. And while Karen was drowning in lawsuits, fines, and furious neighbors, I was restocking my pond with koi. Bright, smug little koi. Because unlike Karen's empire, my water stayed clean. Karen's empire didn't just crumble, it disintegrated. The HOA board held an emergency vote in what used to be their pristine clubhouse, but now smelled faintly like fermented fertilizer. One by one, members turned on her. The treasurer leaked years of shady expenses. The vice president admitted Karen had threatened to fine his kids for bike tire marks on community pavement. They didn't just remove her, they erased her, purged her name from records like she never ruled over their suburban fiefdom. But I wasn't done. Not until I saw her lose everything. With court rulings flying in faster than her Botox injections, Karen tried liquidating assets to cover the legal fallout. Her BMW, repossessed. Vacation condo, seized for environmental restitution. Her Sedona spa account, frozen solid. The cherry on top, her house, foreclosed by court order. It just so happened that I'd already hired a bidder to snatch it the moment it hit auction. Guess who won? That's right, me. Now here's where things get legendary. I let her stay. 1 week. No rent, no warning. Just long enough for her to get comfy, hang her HOA Excellence in Leadership plaque back on the wall, and believe maybe, just maybe, she'd catch a break. Then came moving day. I showed up with the sheriff, the deed, and a crew of polite but fast-working movers. Karen opened the door in a bathrobe and hair curlers, halfway through a green juice. She froze when she saw me. "You," she hissed. "You can't be serious." I held out the paperwork. "Actually, I can. You're trespassing, Karen." She screamed, slammed the door, called her lawyer, who reminded her the judge had signed everything. And then, as the movers boxed up her scented candles and vanity mirrors, I played a looped recording on a Bluetooth speaker. Her own voice from that HOA meeting where she said, "Some people just don't understand how power works." She was still screaming when the sheriff politely escorted her off the property she once ruled. One of the movers handed her a box labeled Queen Karen's stuff. Another neighbor waved goodbye with a garden gnome. As for me, I built a koi pond where her perfectly trimmed hedge used to be. Peaceful, serene, and full of fish that didn't have to swim in someone else's lies. Welcome to Karma Country, Karen. No HOA fees required.